Doug McGillicuddy was ready to make his mark on the fine dining world. Inspired by the bizarre success of his museum and his devoted fan base, Doug had launched his latest venture, a high-end restaurant that took his infamous dishes and transformed them with luxury presentation. Named Essence of Gristle, the restaurant promised an elevated dining experience unlike anything the culinary elite had seen. On opening night, Essence of Gristle was draped in decadence. The dining room, outfitted with dim lighting and dark wood paneling, was decorated with high-backed velvet chairs and elegant chandeliers. Soft jazz played in the background, and the waitstaff moved silently through the tables, each dressed in tuxedos and carrying trays with gloved hands. The guests were a curious mix: food critics, culinary adventurers, a few Gristle Museum regulars, and, to Doug's surprise, a handful of genuinely wealthy patrons who were there purely for the novelty. Doug, wearing a freshly pressed chef's coat with executive chef embroidered on it, roamed the dining room, greeting patrons and promising an unforgettable evening. The menu featured Doug's signature creations, each reimagined and plated to suit the fine dining atmosphere. Here's a taste of what was on offer. The menu 1, gristle tartare with gold leaf garnish. The meal began with Doug's take on beef tartare, a mound of raw, carefully trimmed gristle served with a 24-carat gold leaf garnish. It was plated in a miniature silver bowl set over crushed ice. For added flair, the gristle was smoked tableside with liquid nitrogen, filling the air with an intense meaty aroma. 2, deep-fried gravy, encased in caviar gelée. Doug's deep-fried gravy made its debut in an elaborate presentation. Each gravy sphere was lightly fried and then coated in a layer of caviar gelée, giving it an elegant sheen. Arranged in a delicate crescent atop a porcelain plate, the dish was paired with an edible gravy foam to be spooned over each bite. This dish alone had been priced at a shocking $75. Number 3, Fart Smoothie Flight. Served in crystal shot glasses, the Fart Smoothie Flight was presented as a sophisticated digestive enhancer. The first glass was labelled Silent but Sublime, a spinach and green bean blend. The second was Thunder Roll with heavy notes of garlic and fennel, and the last, the Funk of 76, was an intense concoction of cabbage, prune, and celery root. Each smoothie was topped with a delicate sprig of parsley and presented on a silver tray. Guests were encouraged to appreciate the bouquet before sipping. 4, Gristle Consommé with a drizzle of saffron essence. Doug had taken his classic gristle chunks and reimagined them as a clear amber consommé, served in a tiny glass teapot. The consommé was poured tableside into a bowl containing one delicate gristle nugget topped with a drizzle of saffron essence. The final touch, a sprinkle of edible glitter. 5, dessert, gristle creme brulee with a scented gristle wafer. For dessert, Doug's piece de resistance was a creamy creme brulee infused with essence of gristle, complete with a caramelized top that crackled perfectly under a spoon. Each serving came with a scented gristle wafer, delicately dusted with powdered sugar. The reception. As the first plates were delivered to the tables, the reactions were as varied as the dishes themselves. Critics peered skeptically at the gristle tartare, their faces shifting from intrigue to cautious curiosity as they took their first bites. Foodies snapped photos of the deep-fried gravy and the Fart Smoothie Flight, whispering to each other in excitement over the novelty of each dish. But as the night went on, the experience became less about the food and more about endurance. The Fart Smoothie Flight quickly divided the room. Some sipped bravely, trying to hide their discomfort as they sampled each vintage. One critic attempted to hold back a grimace as she downed the Funk of 76, her face betraying a hint of regret. Another diner gagged quietly into his napkin, discreetly pushing his glass aside. Doug, however, was undeterred. He circulated among the tables, offering enthusiastic descriptions of each dish, recounting the subtle texture of the gristle and the rich undertones of the fart smoothie. "It's not just about taste," he told one table of wide-eyed guests. "It's about expanding the mind and challenging your assumptions. True taste is an experience." As the evening wore on, more diners grew pale, some clutching their stomachs and excusing themselves between courses. A pair of food bloggers exchanged worried glances as they reached the creme brulee finale, hesitating before each bite. Meanwhile, a few adventurous diners seemed surprisingly pleased, even going back for seconds of the gristle consommé. The critique. The following day, reviews of Essence of Gristle were mixed, if not slightly polarized. A bold and visceral exploration of the unconventional, Doug McGillicuddy has created a dining experience that pushes boundaries, even if it sometimes borders on absurdity. The Culinary Examiner. In the world of haute cuisine, there is daring, and then there is disturbing. Essence of Gristle falls somewhere in between, leaving guests to ponder not only their palates but their digestive thresholds. Gourmand's Digest. The gristle tartare was an acquired taste, but the fart smoothie flight, I'm still reeling from the experience. If nothing else, this is a meal you'll never forget, eating unhinged. And yet, for all the mixed reactions, Doug considered the night a resounding success. He had once again managed to capture the attention of a curious world. As he stood in his restaurant the next morning, overlooking the remnants of the night's revelry, he smiled to himself. Fine dining would never be the same, and neither would Doug. He was now officially a culinary artist, and Essence of Gristle had made its unforgettable debut.